Great news late this afternoon. Chris Haynes, Yahoo senior reporter, reports that, quote, LeBron James is going on a minutes restriction and could sit out. Could sit out for the next couple of games as the Lakers' playoff chances fade. So the timing of this, he passes Michael Jordan one night, and then all of a sudden the news comes out that he's going to start resting after this accomplishment has been made. You see this and you say,
it's twofold. I think overall the fan in me wants to see him play. Mm-hmm. The executive in me or coach in me would say, oh, sit him. I would have probably sat him last night as I watched the game against Denver Nuggets, when they made that comeback. So there's two sides of me. But as a fan, I think LeBron James, I wouldn't want him to sit the minutes that Anthony Davis is sitting. If we have a chance to win, I would like to see him on the floor. If we don't have a chance to win, then, okay, I can understand him sitting. We got down 16, 14 points. He's going to sit out. But if it's a four-point game and 4 minutes left in the game, and you have the LeBron James weapon sitting on your bench, to me, that's a disservice to your fans. So in your minute restriction, you better figure out a way, at least I would figure out a way that I could play him in the last 5 minutes of the game if I needed to. So I wouldn't disappoint not only him, I think he's a competitor, and I wouldn't disappoint the fans because he's never been in this position before either. So I don't know if he is going to take this as much as he knows it's happening. I want to see how he takes it.
Just to put this in perspective, he's 34 years old. We all know how old he is. We know Father Time's undefeated. But just to put it in perspective, he's often compared to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. So just to put up their accomplishments, what they did during their season when they were 34 years old. Of course, LeBron, the most games he could possibly play this year would be
Mike
64.
was 62 and 20.
But when you look at Mike, you look at Kobe, they were well accomplished. They made the playoffs. I mean, just talk about...
At 34, Michael was the MVP in 62 and 20.
Yeah. Finals MVP, all defensive, played in all 82 games. Most of the season, Scottie didn't play. We can go into that discussion off air. But it just puts it in perspective. Seeing
that's crazy.
At 34 years old, and of course, LeBron, we know that he's played through 8 straight finals. You talk about Olympic basketball. But it just puts it in perspective, seeing how, important or crazy Father Time is.
Putting everything in perspective, Kenny, who was one of the first guys to help us get for the love of the game clause in our contract?
Oh, Michael Jordan. Well, the other thing is, I don't think it's a Father Time issue with LeBron. I think it's a Father Time with his team. His team doesn't have time. Right. They don't have any experience. I watched the game last night, and you look and you see Kuzma, you see Ball, you see Ingram sitting on the bench, and I'm watching the game with my son, and he's like, what's his name? I was like, Caruso. It's like, what's his name? I was like, oh, that's a kid from Michigan State. It was who he played for.
Who he played for.
I was doing an episode of who he played for. So I think overall, you have so many guys. The best player on the floor last night was Williams from Gonzaga, and he hasn't played all year really. So to me, the inability to have players around you, he realizes, and we've been realizing, he probably realized earlier than us, that's why he went to Miami the first time, that wins championships. That gets you deep in the playoffs. Guys who are committed and have experience to be champions.
And before we get off this topic, what did you just think about the reaction? We saw previously when Kobe passed MJ in Minnesota, they stopped the game. There was a big, celebration. Not so much for LeBron. I mean, is it because
the league said no?
The league did come down and say no, but you saw that.
Yeah, but I think either Cleveland. If it was Cleveland, the ovation would have forced it to be longer.
Yeah, no, I think
because he did most of that scoring there.
Well, most of it there, but then again, we're in LA, so the stage is set better to your question. But I think to Luke Walton, he answered that question at the end. They wanted to do more, but the league said no.
I agree.
Yeah,
but teammates weren't embracing. I mean,
no, but I'm saying he didn't get those 30,000 whatever points with most of those guys. So it wasn't like he's going to walk over to Kyrie Irving. He's going to walk over to Kevin Love, J.R. Smith. Those are the guys he battled with for 6 and 7 years. Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit, they understand what those points meant. Different between getting points. And no, that was the one that sent me to the NBA Finals, Hakeem, Shaq, LeBron. Like, that would be a different scenario. So, yes, they understood what the significance was, but they hadn't been part of it. So the Laker fans hadn't been part of it.
Yeah.
So there was no memory. When Kobe Bryant did his,
every single point
came in those buildings, man.
It's just a little weird because that took place on the road and he was received better. But you know who's next on the list after Michael Jordan?
Kobe
Bryant. So
yeah.
you'll be interested to see what happens if or when LeBron does pass Kobe.